So I'm going to call this special meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order for Tuesday, August 12th, 2020. And please, you got your flag, Paul?
Yep.
Your DAR flag?
Yep. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first order of business is approval of the regular minutes of the regular meeting of July 21. So I'll make a motion that we approve those.
I'll second it.
And Paul will second it. Did you spot anything, any changes or corrections, Paul?
No, found nothing.
I didn't see that. I didn't either. So hearing no objections, I'll try your minds. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That carries. And Ralph is with us. Hello, how are you? First Selectmen's report. Well, what has dominated our life for the last 9 straight days has been recovery from the tropical storm. I will say one thing in defense of the power company, and that is the track of the storm shifted in the 36 hours before landfall. It was originally projected to have the eye of the storm go right up New Haven Harbor. And those of us who have experience with these things, the counterclockwise rotation, know that when you're on the east side of the eye, you get the wind. And when you're on the west side of the eye, you get the heavy rain. So while most of the state was preparing for heavy rain, the storm shifted very dramatically and went right up the Hudson River Valley, putting us right, western Connecticut and Putnam County and Dutchess County right in the worst of the wind. Having said that, however, it has been well reported by Hearst Media, Connecticut Mirror, and other news organizations that Eversource of all the utilities in New England was the least prepared. They did not update their forecast. They did not bring in enough crews to pre-position before the storm hit, unlike the states of New Jersey and New York, which had crews waiting. And I think most problematic is since they have become Eversource, since the hedge fund or whatever it is that bought CL&P has taken over, their senior management seemed to be completely unaware of the priorities that had been long established by the state of Connecticut and by the municipalities with agreement with the utilities. And that priority is life safety comes first. So opening roads, getting trees and wires off the road so that ambulances and fire apparatus can get by, and making sure your fire and police stations and sewer and water infrastructure is operating. That took a back seat to just turning on switches wherever possible. I had that confirmed by middle management people as well as line crews that they were being sent out to the field to find places where they could get the lights on, and clearing the wires and the trees took a secondary role in that effort, which is not only troubling and infuriating, it's dangerous. We are very fortunate that the town of Bethel did not have any fires or serious medical emergencies behind those trees with wires, because our first responders would not have been able to get to them. It took, we had to wait till Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. to get the very first make safe crew into the town of Bethel. It took till Sunday night, actually Monday morning by about 4 a.m. for all of those down trees and wires to be untangled. And that is just unacceptable. And I'll leave you with one other example of how dysfunctional Eversource's command and control was. We had a liaison who was a very hardworking and very diligent person. She was doing her best to advocate for us, but neither she nor I nor Tom Galliford or our chief of police had any access to Eversource's senior management. So she tried for 6 straight days to get power to our police station. Our police station was fortunately running on its generator, but it almost ran out of fuel several times because oil deliveries had been disrupted by the storm as well. So on day 6, on Monday, I was actually at the police station when this happened. Chief Pugner, just in frustration, made a phone call to a different Eversource number. So while Tom Galliford and his team were working through the liaison the way they're supposed to escalate issues. Chief Pugner called the number that's at the dispatch desk for any emergency, like when a car hits a utility pole and the wires come down. The gentleman who answered the phone literally said, "We had no idea that you were without power. We had no idea."
Unbelievable.
And that gentleman, whose name I have written down in my office, I don't have it, dispatched a truck that arrived within 60 minutes and turned the power back on. That is how dysfunctional Eversource's command and control was. I felt so badly for the liaisons because they were in the dark and they had no clout whatsoever to get things done.
Well, the interesting thing about this whole thing, Matt, was Sunday I had to go to Home Depot, and opposite of the Harley Davidson where that hotel is,
yeah,
there were like 12 out-of-state utility trucks there, and I came back later at 3 o'clock, and they were still there.
Yes, that happened throughout the state. I just talked to one of my colleagues, first selectman from Durham, I think.
Yeah.
They had 20 trucks that sat for 6 hours waiting for instructions. So there's a lot of work to do. Council of Small Towns and Connecticut Conference of Municipalities have filed for intervenor status on the investigation that was called for by the governor. And by the way, the chairperson of PIRA, Attorney Gillette, has accepted that and has opened a formal investigation docket. And Attorney General William Tong has announced that he plans to file a lawsuit to penalize Eversource for their slow response. So that's where we are today, and so that's the end of my report for now.
Okay.
Any questions or anything?
No.
All right. Okay. So first item of business is item number 4 on your agenda: consideration of deer hunt application. So that was in the packet that was online. So I'll make a motion that we approve the request for deer hunting. Now, the instruction says it is understood that all firearms and hunting laws and regulations are enforced. The application was only for bow hunting during the season. It was not for firearm. And the areas to be permitted are Terre Haute and Chestnut Ridge, but exclusive of the reservoir area. And the hunters will be provided a map to stay away from the reservoir area because they're not permitted to go into the watershed. So I'll make that motion that we permit that.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. Item number 5 on the agenda: consideration of 2020 Connecticut Steep Grant application. This is, we have eligibility to apply for steep to fix that culvert that's on Codfish Hill Road.
Right, we've been talking about that for quite a while.
Yep, so we're in the final phase. The design is ready, and so we can probably get that done this year. So I'm going to make a motion that we, let me read the resolution, certificate of resolution. So the resolution that the Board of Selectmen needs to approve reads as follows: municipal certification of resolution STEEP 2020. I, Lisa A. Bird, Town Clerk of the Town of Bethel, a municipality organized and existing under the laws of the state of Connecticut, hereby certify that the following is a true copy of the resolution adopted by the Board of Selectmen meeting at the Town of Bethel, and it's a special meeting or regular meeting held August 4th, 2020. Let me change that. Special meeting on August 12th. This was the resolution that we had last week for our meeting. Right. It has to be canceled. So let me correct that. Resolved that First Selectman Matthew S. Knickerbocker be and is hereby authorized to accept on behalf of the Town of Bethel a 2020 Connecticut Steep Grant in the amount of $128,205 for the Codfish Hill Road culvert replacement. Further resolved that First Selectman Knickerbocker is hereby authorized to enter into and execute any and all agreements, contracts, documents necessary to obtain said 2020 steep grant with the state of Connecticut. I do further certify that the above resolution has in no way been altered, amended, revoked, and is in full force and effect. And I do further certify that Matthew S. Knickerbocker is the first selectman of the town of Bethel has been since December 7th, 2009. Been witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the seal of the town of Bethel. This, I'm going to make it 13th day of August, 2020.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That carries. Final item on the agenda is consideration of engineering review of police firing range. Marty, let me ask you a question. If I can have you unmute. Do we need an executive session for this?
No, I don't think so. It's just a contract to hire them. I mean, we're not.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
We do.
All right. Well, Paul, what we have here, per our previous discussions, is as you know, we've retained an attorney, Richard Robinson from Pullman and Comley. There's the letter, and to help us through this problem that we have with the firing range. On Attorney Robinson's recommendation, we are going to retain Becht Engineering, and their role will be to review the Hoffman report, do their own inspection of the building, and either certify that the Hoffman report is correct or offer some other kind of guidance for us on this as a first step. But the goal here is to have a completely independent and unbiased report that was not paid for by any of the interested parties who are involved in the construction.
Where'd it go? I don't know where it just went.
It's at the top. Yeah, no, not where it says Beck proposal and there's a PDF.
Yeah.
No. There you go. Now, the one thing that this report does not have, it was in a separate email, is a cost estimate. The gentleman from Becht Engineering says that the cost to review this would be between $7,000 and $10,000. So I'm going to put a motion on the floor that we approve Becht Engineering as a reviewing agent in an amount not to exceed $10,000.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Floor is open.
All right. Marty, you can help me here a little bit. I understand what Beck is trying to do. I just hope they're not going to try to re-engineer the whole process, because I took a look at the agreement letter that they sent. I hope this is not carte blanche, that this can go on forever. I think the letter that we got from, bear with me here, from Robinson sent to Russell Fernandez. It says, write the opening statement. All parties agree that the masonry work was defective. And I'm going to go back to the original specification of the police building. It was supposed to be brick. I don't care what Downs wants to do or their subcontractor wants to do. I want a brick building. Any compromise of that is that to cover that up, we still have defective materials underneath. That'd be just like saying we got a square wheel and, the engineering firm will come back and says, yes, you have a square wheel, maybe we can round it out. As far as I'm concerned, if you have defective materials, they should be replaced. In other words, tear the building down. That's where I stand. The Downs has got insurance. They're bonded. Same thing with the subcontractors. I would assume that. I just don't want a defective product or covering up something that the town 10 years from now is going to have to address. That's my thinking on this whole thing.
Couple of things. The first is, if you read the letter from Becht,
Yeah.
he was supposed to attach a schedule of list of what some of their expenses are. I never, and I went back and I looked at the stuff that Robinson sent us. It's not there.
Yeah.
So that's one. Number two, although my sentiments are with you, Paul, I would be very surprised if a court would turn around and tell whether it be the architect, whether it be Downs, it doesn't make any difference. You got to tear down everything and rebuild it because it still has some kind of value. And what's going to happen is they're not going to force that to happen. They're going to pay you damages is what they're going to do. That's what's going to happen. It's hard to get specific performance unless it's a totally unique thing. If you can pay damages to cover the cost of something, then that's what you're going to get. And that's the problem that we have.
Okay,
My opinion.
yeah. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah. I'm going to modify my motion and add one thing. I'm going to say, subject to town attorney's final approval before we proceed, just to make sure we get that last thing in.
Well, the other thing you could do too is you could put not to exceed $12,000, right?
Okay.
They're the ones that came up with that number.
Well, the number was 10. I already put that in there. I said not to exceed 10.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Let me just. Is that what it was? I thought it was a little higher than that.
Could have been.
I could be wrong. So. Of
So
course,
could I.
paperwork is out of order.
Lord knows it doesn't happen often, but I could be wrong.
You and me both. Mark. Oh, I can't seem to locate it now. The several emails I've got here. Oh, you're right, 7,500 to 10,000.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, anything else? We have a motion on the floor to move forward with this. Paul, any other comments?
no, that's it.
Yep. I'm with Marty. I agree with you. We'll just got to get whatever we can.
Well,
Okay.
I just don't want a defective product that's going to bite us later on, you know what I mean?
I do.
That's
And
hiring.
this just has that smell to it, you know, of saying, well, let's just fix a defective product. If you have a defective material, let's replace the material. That's just my position.
Well, let's see where this goes, and then we'll take the next step.
Okay,
All right. So we have a motion on the floor to approve. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Aye. That carries. And that concludes our agenda.
All right.
Can I just have a clarification of that motion? So motion not to exceed $10,000 and subject to review and final approval of town council?
Correct. That's
Yes.
correct.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
All right, then, okay, you moved it, I'll second it.
Very good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll go see if there's anything left of the steak.
All right.
See you later. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.